And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the OlimoLeague week number 237. We just wrapped up with the round of 16, and now we are here. We are back with the round of 8 with the quarterfinals. The quarterfinals are upon us. We have 3 matches ahead of us here, 3 best of 3s, and our first one is upon us. A ZvP between SHIN and Zoun. We just casted SHIN versus Skillous, did go all the way to the ace match. SHIN did come out on top just barely over Skillous. And we'll see where this leads us. We'll see if Zoun can avenge his fallen color comrade here in Skillous. We'll see if he can as we're jumping in. We're jumping into Ley Lines. Now, Ley Lines is going to be the first game of the series. As a reminder, the format of OlimoLeague is that the first map is predetermined. So every game in the quarterfinals will begin on Ley Lines and then losers pick. Oh boy. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ley Lines, we have the South Green Protoss player, the red Protoss. It is Zoun. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the blue Zerg. Representing Diamond Gladiators, it is SHIN. Here we go. As we are settling in, we have our ZvP SHIN already warmed up. Zoun, we'll see how he compares. How he's able to keep up. Now, when it comes to Zoun, I don't know what to think of him anymore, because for a very, very long time, and even in his recent return from the military, Zoun, his best matchup was PvP, and second to it was PvT. That is where he thrived. That is where he looked strongest and looked best, and that was accurate, especially in November. Sorry, especially coming into December. But in recent times, his PvZ has been looking insane. We've seen Zoun shut down SHIN, shut down Dark as well in the recent KSL. Sorry, I said SHIN. Zoun take down SHIN, Zoun take down Dark. Zoun has been looking very impressive in this matchup as of late, and he hasn't been cheesing or anything like that. He has been going for some more standard builds and standard play. Of course, we recently casted Zoun in the playoffs of Masters Coliseum. He made it that far as well. Zoun did end up falling to Raynor. True, did fall to Raynor, but it was a very, very intense back and forth between Zoun and Raynor. I believe that went all the way to the ace match. Let me just double check that. If I recall correctly, yes. So Zoun and Raynor, this was over the weekend. This was recent. This was a couple of days ago. Zoun and Raynor went all the way to game 7. They went all the way to game 7 in a best of 7, and it barely went the way of Raynor. And mate, Raynor, I would say he's what, second if not third best Zerg player in the world. I would say right now, like, I don't think Dark is very much so in form. He has been less active, so yeah, I would say Raynor's what, second best Zerg player in the world, alongside several, of course. And for Zoun to bring Raynor to the ace match in a best of 7 is crazy. If he can do that, he can take anyone down, really. So yeah, Zoun, he's been, specifically, it feels like he's been focusing on this matchup. He's been focusing, and he has been improving a lot here in PvZ. It's been crazy to see his growth over time. Has been crazy to witness. And here we go. We're settling in. We are going to be settling in. For now, we do have our Stargate opener out of Zoun. Back on him, just gate expand into Stargate, or into Cybercore, into Stargate from there. Everything looking as it should. And we should just being Stargate opener into Oracle, into a third base. Now, what I will say is that what Zoun did show us against Raynor over the weekend, is that Zoun, he was very charge heavy. Very much so. He actually very rarely opened up standard. I'm referring to third base into Blink. We would often see third base into Charge, into Archons. From there, he could go into the late game. If he initially, he would try to go for a +1 timing. If he missed the timing, or if he scouted and saw that Raynor was prepared in time, then Zoun would back off, and Zoun would go into Storm, go into a 4th base, Turtle, and then go into Skytoss. And we would see late game between Zoun and Raynor. And a lot of it, very often, would be off of a Void Ray opener as well. So there we go, Void Ray opener out of Zoun. So far, so good. With the power of the Void Ray, of course, he can shut down any scouting overlords, can shut down any vision of SHIN. And we can settle in from there. Again, we'll see how SHIN compares. So far, SHIN just opening up Hatch Gas Pool into a third base, saturating his natural, and settling in. Is going to be investing into extra lings here. With these lings, he can, of course, not just defend, but try to harass, try to punish this third base. We saw SHIN embrace this quite often against Skillous earlier in their series. Overlord goes down, and the lings move out. And again, the goal here is to try to force a cancel, just pick off any stray units at the third. We'll see if Shin can. As he moves out, Oracle's moving in. Again, Void Ray into Oracle. There is no second Oracle or third Oracle, not yet. Again, typically we should be seeing, ooh, yep, second Void Ray. This is Zoun's go-to, second Void Ray into Twilight Council, into Forge, into Charge. This is very stylistic to Zoun. Does Rico back home? Lings, they get a full surround. Can he force a cancel? Ooh, it's going to be close. He can. He can, and he will. Massive pick up here. Third base is denied. Oracle arrives, but a little bit too late. And with that, Shin, he pulls away. He pulls away, happy, content with the damage he's dealt. Back at home and keeping a high drone count. Or sustaining his drone count, I should say. And there's that follow-up Forge. Twilight Council, again, +1. Charge into Temple Archives, into Archons and Storm. It's usually how Zoun does play this out, but again, he is now behind. His third base is heavily delayed. Heavily delayed third. Oracle moves out, Queens are ready. Shin is keeping up. And Zoun is investing into, I believe that's a third Void Ray. Yeah, he's getting a third Void Ray. I believe he usually stops at 3. I don't quite recall him investing into any more than 3 Void Rays in previous games. Ooh, that is not charge. +1 and blink. Okay, you have my attention. You have my attention here. Going to +1 and blink instead. Likewise, Lings, they once again check the third base. Oh, they threaten the natural. Overlord speed is on the way. He is getting a 4th Void Ray. This looks like the beginning of an all-in. We're building up a high gateway count. That's going to be, what, 6 gates? 6 gates for the time being. Getting up to a 4th Void Ray. Building them up. I'm waiting to see if he throws down another 2 gates to go to like 6. Sorry, to go to 8. So far, just 6. Zoun does transfer, saturating his expansion. Void Rays, they move out to try to snipe a base. We'll see if he can. Meanwhile, Shin is cut his own worker production. I did notice Overlord speed. Overlord speed is done, and we're going for a drop load all in. Shin is loading up, and we're sending it across the map. He's not going to lie and wait to see what Zoun is up to. Void Rays, they will deny the expansion, and Shin, doesn't care. He doesn't care about the 4th base anyway. Wasn't going to join it up, wasn't going to macro anyway. Does cancel, and here it comes. Here comes Shin. Back at home, what do we have to defend? We have, so far, 2 more cannons on the way, and 2 more shield batteries. Oh, Overlord is going to be focused down. Queens do unload in time, but the drop load will fall. Say, oh no! Ooh, stasis and connects! Massive connection! Ay, ay, ay. Shin got too excited. Remember, he filed, but still ran in. And this will slow him down. 2 stage traps, they are baited out. Queen's being targeted down by the Void Rays. No creep, no transfuse. But Lings, they come in for the surround. Is it going to be enough, though? Zoun, can he hold on? Lings, they do overwhelm. Yeah, they overwhelm the army. Stalkers, they do fall. And Shinny's done it. He breaks through. The Void Rays will clean everything up eventually. The Miles! Oh my god. The Miles connect. They take down a Void Ray. But there's still 3 Void Rays remaining. And they will clean this up. Blink about to finish. +1 as well. Boys being pulled away. Still 14 probes going down. And Shin behind this, he's macroing. He's droning. He's droning up, rebuilding his 4th base, getting a hydrogen, taking more gases. Shin, he has recognized he cannot kill Zoun, but he does cripple him. As he got 17 probe kills. 17 probe kills, 14 stalkers, 3 Void Rays. Ay, ay, ay. There's still 3 Void Rays left. Jeez. As he has not stopped Void Ray production. And Shin is following this up with Hydras. Still needs a little bit more time. Queens are amassing. Zoun going for his own counterattack. We'll see if he can deny the 4th. So far, the Queens are defending. They're holding. 6 Queens. And Shin should be fine. There's those 6 Queens and Ling Hydra that's just now popping out. Likewise has Transfuse. Does buy time. And Shin is looking to outscale Zoun. Zoun just now getting his 4th base, essentially trying to double expand. Hive is already on the way at the same time as Zoun is finishing up his own Temple Archives. Both players are teching. Shin is in a slightly better position here. Despite that, we might just embrace a longer game state and get into a macro game. What I'm referring to is both players getting their 4th bases saturated, SHIN taking into Lurkers, and Zoun taking into Archon, Storm, and Immortal. Could end up in that position. We're getting there. Zoun needs more time, though. And does SHIN give him that time? Coming in for a surround, forces a recall. One Stalker won't make it back in that recall. Another 2 going to be hunted down. As SHIN, he has drawn up to 81. One Stalker does escape. Let's go. Makes it back in time. Does make it back. Behind this, yep, there's the Lurker Den, as we mentioned. So it looks like the game is going to slow down. And I don't really see Zoun being too active. I see more of this, right? Just cannon, shield, battery, stasis traps. Zoun, he has to defend. He has to just fortify himself on 4 bases. Getting a 5th base is going to be so difficult for Zoun. Given this kind of game state. As SHIN is pushing from both angles. Takes the Storm to the face. Really, SHIN is just applying pressure, and he will get a gate wave. Oh! Let's pull back. Takes down a gateway. Hive is now done. Soon to be into those Lurker upgrades. The Hive upgrades, I mean. SHIN, he's getting there. And SHIN is the first to max out. And here we go. 9 Lurkers on the way. Before Zoun can really stabilize, SHIN, he's here to knock him down. Again, this is all because of the damage that SHIN dealt earlier. Because he wasn't quite able to kill Zoun, but he was able to cripple the economy. He was able to cripple him enough to allow for this kind of game state. And here come the Lurkers. The Lunkers, they're coming. Is there any detection? There's an Oracle. There's one Oracle with a Revelation. Observers on the way. Nice Storm. Very nice Storm in the Hydras. Lurkers are slowly pushing in. Hydra's lunging on the cannon. Let's go. Cannon goes down. Army's being bullied back. Further into the natural. Lurkers, they spread out. Oh, gets a Revelation. Nice Revelation. Observer has arrived. And Zoun is going to break out here. Decent Storms. Oh, there's more Lurkers behind this. And more Lurkers, they have arrived. And there's just too much. SHIN, he should be able to maintain this position. He's going to be reinforcing with more Lings. Oh my god. The Storms have been brutal. But the Lunkers, they keep coming. They keep pushing in. And again, Zoun just wasn't able to stabilize. Did try to. Getting to more Immortals, getting to +3. Fleet Beacons on the way as well. Does try to break out, but again, the line of Lurkers is just too much to handle. GG gets called, and SHIN takes game number 1. GG. SHIN does take a lead in the series. Again, it was hyper aggressive. It was a unique build out of Zoun, is what I will say. I feel like part of it might just be a reaction because he lost his 3rd base early on, if you remember. But I was shocked to see him not just going to +1 and blink, but to continue Void Ray production. He went up to what, 6 at the end? It was crazy. I mean, he was getting a 6th Void Ray, I should say. But yeah, it was being very Void Ray heavy. Of course, we saw that SHIN was able to catch him off guard, catch him with his pants down with his own Drop Lord, like, kind of German taxi-esque Queen All-In, which didn't quite kill Zoun, but did cripple him. Did kill 17 probes and 14 stalkers. Like, the trades were still insane. Did give him enough of a lead. And with that, SHIN takes a lead in the series, and this leads us into game number 2. Shouldn't be a surprise, the map of choice for Zoun is going to be Abyssal Reef. Again, Abyssal Reef is known for being hyper-defensive, very macro-oriented. I'm sure Zoun is going to be a lot more comfortable here on a much larger map. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Abyssal Reef, we have the red Protoss player from South Korea. Just coming back from the military, it is Zoun. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the red Zurich player, the South Korean Zurich representing Gaming Gladiators, leading the series 1-0. It is SHIN. Here we go. As again, it was almost a hold from Zoun. He had like an amazing stasis trap early on. He had plenty of void rays to focus on the queens, to focus on the Roach Ravager. But the swarm did prove to be too much. And we find ourselves with SHIN with a 1-0 advantage. Now coming into this, I'm curious to see if Zoun does open up charge once again. I mean, I'd say once again, like he did against Raynor, if he opens up Blink like he did last game. I expect to see something more macro-oriented, though. I don't expect Zoun to go for an all-in. I expect him to take full advantage of this map and get up to 3, 4, 5 bases. That's going to be his goal, at least. I don't know if SHIN can quite stop him. It might just be a game of greed here on Abyssal Reef instead. About cutting corners, rushing into tech, rushing into the 3rd and 4th base, and saturating. We'll keep an eye on our players. When it comes to being a little bit more cheeky on this map and a little bit more unorthodox, we could see SHIN, for example, going to Mutaplay. True. Like that is viable here on Abyssal Reef, to go into gases, go into roaches, and instead of going Hydra, just throw it in the Spire. That is an option for SHIN. But I don't expect SHIN to go for a similar attack that we saw last game. I don't expect like another, Drop Lord based all-in or Drop Lord based attack. Just much more difficult to pull off here on Abyssal. Much more difficult. But now we're settling in. Zoun's go-to is to be very Void Ray reliant early on. And we could see that again. We'll keep an eye on him. Now Zoun needs scouts. He confirms no early gases, no early spawning pool. No weird start out of SHIN. The probe does pull away. Behind the Stargate opener out of Zoun. I see, not Miguelito Pro TV, Miguelito Pro TV. Ah, ¿qué tal, papi? ¿Qué tal? Ga. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Had to do a double take with the name. Amazing. As now the Stargate is done, and once again Void Ray opener. And this shouldn't be a surprise. This is, oh, never mind. He cancels. Wait, does Link scout? Opens Void Ray, cancels, goes for the Oracle. Ling did confirm. Is going to be an Oracle first. Okay. We could see a much more standard build this time. No Void Rays, not yet. Oracle to move out for scouting information. Zoun getting his 3rd base. Last game, of course, there was a massive Ling flood, and SHIN was able to force a cancel. I can't imagine he's going to invest as hard this time. As the Oracle does zoom across the map. Okay, it's going to be Oracle into the later Void Ray this time. Okay, so still Void Rays, so still the Zoun that we know and love. But later instead. Just Oracle first and scouts. Dips in, gets 1, gets 2 drones. Oh, gets 3. 3 workers go down, and Zoun does pull away. SHIN did make a wave of Lings, but nowhere near as many as last time. Only 11 Lings this time. Can scouts, can apply some pressure, but can't really do much more than that. Which means this 3rd base is safe and sound. It's going to be safe and sound. It's going to get up and running. SHIN can drone, can saturate his own bases. And we can settle in. There's the Forge of the Twilight Council. Should be plus on and Blink, but again, Zoun has been known to go into charge instead, so we'll see if he does deviate from the norm. And how he does play this out. Likewise, SHIN going to be joining up his own 3rd. Going to be saturating. Lair is on the way. It's going to be just under a 5-minute lair for SHIN. And a safety Roach Warren. typically, or ideally, Shin would be avoiding roach production this time and going straight into hydras, but we'll see if that's the case. We'll see if he does avoid it. Zoun is indeed going into +1 on Blink. Okay. So much more standard here from Zoun. Getting into +1 Blink Stalkers. Building up. Should be eventually taking his 4th base. And we're settling it. We can macro, Pappy. We can macro. Let's go. Oh. As Oracle gets zoned away. There is now done, and we are going for the spy. We mentioned earlier that Muta play is viable here for Shin on Abyssal Reef. So he is going roaches into mutas. Okay. Good thing we did mention it. And if this goes unscattered, this can wreak havoc. What I will say, though, is that because Zoun did open Blink instead of Charge, he does have anti-air available. He does have an army that can keep up. So it's not going to be as dire as it would be if he had gone into Charge instead. Behind this, Temple Archives into Archons, into Storm. Additional Stalkers get spotted. With that, Shin, he should be aware of Blink. As he sees extra Stalker Warpins. Void Ray does threaten the natural, but alas doesn't quite scout. There is 2 Oracles here, ready to dive in. Uh-oh. And do they get eyes on the Spire? Oh, they're so close. They head towards the main. They don't check the natural. Up! Up! Oh my god, almost. They head in that direction. They get a revelation. They scout the main, but again, they do not get eyes on the Spire. They even get a revelation here at the 3rd. They check the main, they check the 3rd. They don't take the 2nd base. They don't scout. Charge on the way alongside +2. And Shin, he's embracing those mutas. Now, it's only going to be 7 mutas. Bear that in mind. Because we had +1 range, we do see that Shin, he's focusing on his ground army on Ling Roach Ravager, and it's only enough mutas to harass. It's not mass muta. Meanwhile, Zoun does poke in, catching at a couple of Overlords. So far, Shin is keeping up. Just trying to buy time. 18 more links on the way. Hydrogen as a follow-up. Mutas are rallied across the map. 7 mutas, that is enough to one-shot probes. And what do we have to defend? We have a couple of Stalkers in position here at the 3rd. The main base is vulnerable, and so was the natural. So 2 exposed bases. And looks like they have been spotted. Zani responds. He blinks. And he's keeping up. Oh my god, as 1 muta goes down, and he only kills 1 probe. Very nice defense here out of Zoun. He defends, he holds, loses only 1 probe. That was risky for Shin to dive in between all the bases. That was crazy. That was wild. Alas, he was denied, and so far these mutas have not paid for themselves. It's not been worth it so far for Shin. Meanwhile, Shin is taking into a hive and taking into hydras and lurkers. Again, this lurker tech would have already been done by now if Shin hadn't gone into muta. A little bit concerned. Massive storms. Yeah. Massive storms connect. Muta's rotating in towards the main. By now, Zoun's got plenty of cannons, shield batteries. Yeah, he's well fortified. And that's a fleet beacon in production. Zoun getting ready for Skytoss. Again, this is why he went for Abyssal Reef of all maps, as he's secure in 4 bases and can even get a 5th. Mutas, they threaten to die, but the Stalkers are in position. They get 2 more mutas. And now we're out of one-shot range. Oh no. And Shin struggling a little bit here. Lurkers are morphing in. These are going to be lair tech lurkers for the time being. The hive upgrades aren't done yet. The lurkers are not done. 1 lurker gets denied. 2nd lurker goes down. How many lurkers left? 4. 4 lurkers remaining. Shinny's up against the wall. Zealot coming in from behind. Going for the bases. Zoun is poking in, pulling out. Again, Zoun, he has no intention of committing into any of these fights, into any of these lurkers. If he can catch a lurker here and there, that's ideal. But remember, Zoun, behind this, Tempest are on. Like, there's no reason to take a fight early on if he's building up Tempest behind this and refining his army. So it's all about just posturing and denying creep. Denying creep more than anything. SHIN does break out. Ooh, takes Storm to the face. Massive Storms even. Plenty of Storms left over. Stasis goes off. Zoun is keeping up. Tempests have arrived. +1 air attack almost done as well. And SHIN can't quite push into this. He is in position to deny the 5th, that is true. But any more than that, yeah, the Tempest, they just bully the ground army. Zelce busts into the 4th. Hydras, they get forced back. Zoun holds. And Zoun can just pick away at these lurkers. For free, Papi. Up! Gets one. Does get a lurker. Zoun from here should be looking to take in towards the mothership. But now, how many Tempests? 6. Jesus. He's already at his ideal. He's at 6 Tempests. There it is. Mothership's on the way. Behind the SHIN is trying to take it in towards Corruptor production. Thankfully, he already had a Spire. True. Spire was already done. So Corruptors are on the way. But SHIN's upgrades are still somewhat lacking here. Again, like, the investment into Mutas did set him behind. And SHIN has a ways to catch up. SHIN is repositioning. Decent amount of lurkers. He's got 12 lurkers, 15 corruptors. Has a decent army set up. No spellcasters yet. Zoun just throwing away supply, throwing away stalkers. Refining his army. From here, he can go into carrier production. So Tempest carrier ground toss. SHIN trying to dive in, does catch out the oracles. And he's going to try to commit. The storms are brutal. There's a wall of cannons. Cloak gets activated. And he's going for it. Yeah, the storms that connect with the Hydras. Hydras get shut down. Corruptors, they go for the dive. But there's a wall of cannons. And the Corruptors are all going to go down. They do not get the mothership. As there's what, 4 Corruptors left. And the mothership barely goes down for F. That's 15 Corruptors. Oh my god. 15 Corruptors for one mothership. Ay, that was not worth it. Oh, no. From here, Zoun can just rebuild, going into carrier production. And SHIN backs up. See here, that was 15 Corruptors, 11 Hydras, 9 Lurkers as well. For 1 Tempest and 1 mothership. Did trade with some of the ground units, it's true, but I mean, at the same time, Zoun wants to get rid of them. He does want to get rid of this gateway army. So much better trade for Zoun. I mean, you can see that SHIN is burning through his bank. Like, SHIN, he has no bank. He's just spending everything he has to try to build up. And here comes Zoun. Likewise, SHIN, he can't even afford, I mean, at this point he can, but he needs upgrades. He's on 1-0 for the Corruptors. Storms, once again, they pop up. We just try chasing down another storm. SHIN just rushes through the storms. I mean, he feels desperate. I don't blame him, but the storms are just so brutal. The Hydras are melting. Corruptors, they get 1 carrier. One carrier goes down. Another one rises to take its place. And from here, there is detection. Crafters, it looks like they get a second carrier. They're going for a third. They get a third carrier as well, but everything else crumbles. The Hydras, the Lurkers, there's nothing else left here to support the army. GG gets called as Shin just rams into a brick wall, and Zoun ties up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played. Ooh, we have a series, we have a back and forth, and again, like, this is kind of the ideal that Zoun wanted. It's why he chose this map, to get into a solid 4 and 5 base economy, embrace Skytoss, go through in a very comfortable way, and yeah, Shin kind of stumbled his way into the mid game. Unfortunately, Shin took a chance. If you remember, he did invest quite heavily into a Spire, into 7 Mutas. As a reminder, that does delay Hive, it delayed the Lurkers, it delayed Hydras, it delayed everything else in favor of those Mutas, and we saw that it didn't really come to pass, didn't really do anything. Killed one probe. One probe went down for the Mutas. It was impeccable defense by Zoun. And from there, Shin did fall behind, and Zoun was looking very comfortable, just able to embrace the Skytoss and just snowball out of control. With that, GG, well played. We're getting into the final game of the series. We are loading into the ace match, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of first line, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Gaming Gladiators. It is Shin. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Red Protoss player, also from South Korea. It is Zoun. Now, I'll be honest, I'm a little bit concerned. We are still in the quarterfinals. This is the first series of the quarterfinals. We've had some long matches. We've had some long games. Mate, we're 7 hours into the now, I was expecting like an 8-hour cast, like at most. I was like, hey, I can do 8 hours. It's gonna be fine. Mate, we're still in the quarterfinals. Oh, no. No shot. No shot. We'll make it. We'll make it. Ay, ay, ay. We'll make it through. So now we're settling in. Good luck with the 12-hour cast. Oh, God. It's happening. It's happening. Oh, wait, no, sorry. We're good. I was adding extra hours because the stream went down, but, okay, I think we can reach 8 hours. I think we should be good for 8 hours. My mistake. We've been like 5 hours. I was adding an extra 2, but I didn't need to. I didn't need to add it. Thank God. This is still the first series of the quarterfinals. Oh, let's go. And I still have a cast after. We'll make it. We'll make it in time. I want to believe we're not going to reach 9 hours. No shot. Copium. But now we're settling in. We're settling to Frostline. Now this map does make sense. This is, of course, Shin's map of choice. It's going to be Shin's map of choice here. Loading into Frostline. From here, Shin is looking to try to be hyper aggressive. We've spoken of this before, but the 3rd base and 4th base are very exposed. So when it comes to 3 base aggression, whoever's being assertive can really gain a lot of momentum. And the style that we saw out of Zoun last game, going into a more defensive setup, going into, of course, a wall of cannons and shield batteries, into Skytoss, is a lot less viable here on Frostline. Much less viable. I wouldn't be surprised even if Zoun does open up with something like Charge instead of Blink. To be more aggressive, to be more assertive. We'll see. Again, this is the downside of, or this is something to consider when it comes to OlimoLeague, is that you're forced to play on otherwise uncomfortable maps because there are no vetoes. It's going to be a Void Ray opener here out of Zoun. It's going to be Void Rays. Here we go. But yeah, we've been getting a lot of late game. Like even in like Rogue versus Clem, for example, Shin versus Skillus, this series, Shin versus Zoun. A lot of longer matches. Let's go. Even Ryung earlier, if you remember, when Ryung played against Zoun. I think game 1 was very long. Now there, SHIN poking in, looking for the third. Third is being taken. We'll see if SHIN can force a cancel. Or at least pick off a probe, pick off an adept. Void Ray is revealed. And Lings, they do dive on the base. Can they force a cancel now? With the Oracle coming in, Zoun holds. Zoun holds, Zoun defends. Behind this, second Void Ray is on the way. And we should soon be seeing the tech of choice. As Oracle dips in, gets a drone. It's one worker so far. Lanes are deflected, Void Rays they defend well. There's that follow tech, +1, and also the Forge and Twilight Council. Now, I'm making the assumption that we're going to be headed into charge instead to be more active on the map, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm making that assumption just because it is more difficult to turtle up and defend. But we'll see how Zoun will make the approach. Could always go into like an 8 gates, +1 blink all in. Could try to pull that off. As we have +1 melee on the way, this tells us that SHIN, he intends to skip roaches. We may see a safety roach warren, but typically this is for Ling Hydra as a composition of choice. As that layer is on the way. And yep, there it is, +1 in charge. Again, this makes sense in my mind. +1 in charge is more active. The reason for this is you can hit a really strong timing with charge and with +1, of course. With Archons as a follow-up. Basically, you can throw down the Temple Archives and you can morph in Archons as you push, as you attack. And there it is. Yeah, there's the Temple Archive. So this is going to be a pretty strong timing here from Zoun. And now I'm concerned. What this is ideal against is if the Zerg player does skip roaches. If the Zerg player is going Ling Hydra, as we were assuming that SHIN was going to do, I mean, this build from Zoun can snowball out of control. Just because your army is so fragile. I'm referring to the Zerg army. Like, Ling Hydra is just so fragile against Archons, against Chargers, that they melt so quick. And we do have a safety Baneling Nest. So this confirms no roaches. No roaches for SHIN. It is going to be Ling Hydra. Thankfully, Baneling's going to be available, and Baneling's going to be crucial in the defense. As you can imagine, when charge hits, I mean, they could run into Banelings or not. Comes down to the control of both players. Comes down to whether Banelings are ready for this. Here come the Archons that we spoke about. Again, they morph in just in time for the push. Archons get spotted. SHIN knows, and he has to get ready. He pulls back home. Building up Hydras. You can see SHIN getting ready for a counterattack. Zanny rotates. Does find the Lings. Forcing them back. Behind this, throwing down a Robo. That's going to be for Immortal production. And my apologies. I assumed the Robo was done, as that would have been for the War Prism. So Zanny's staying back home. Upgrades are done, but he can't commit. Again, without a War Prism, he cannot move out across the map. I mean, not reinforce, at least, across the map. Still going for a run by. Still pushing. Bold move. Is still moving out. Hydras are building up. This is to distract SHIN. Keeping his attention here towards the north side. As I'll say, check for the fourth. There is none, at least not towards the south. And Zoun pulls away. Zoun pulls away. Storm is soon to finish. And SHIN, he gets away with Ling Hydra. He gets away with it. I don't think he even morphed in any Banelings. Yeah, not a single Baneling was morphed in, so very efficient here from SHIN. And so this defense is going to turn into an offense. This is one of the big reasons why SHIN chose this map, as Zoun attempts to take a fourth. Again, this fourth base and this third base are very difficult to defend both locations. Very difficult to hold on. And here come the Banelings. Here comes SHIN. As SHIN is cutting workers at 76. Cutting workers just under full 4 base saturation. And again, Shin, he's intentionally not taking up. What do I mean by that? No infestation bit, no hive, no lurkers, a purely Lingbane Hydra. It's very committed Bailings. They roll in. 11 probes going down. At the same time, Hydras, they don't quite commit into the expansion. It's going to be forced back by the Zealots. More Bailings. 14 more Bailings being morphed in as well. Towards the south side. The Storm is ready. Zoun, he's somewhat keeping up. And again, Shin is pretty much all in. Is all in here. He has to do critical damage. Bailings, they try to crash into the High Templar. They will. Yeah, one High Templar left. Massive stasis traps. Oh my god. And without the stasis, we're trying to hold on. Bailings, they attempted to crash in. Only 2 probes going down. Hydras are being collapsed upon. The Zealots, they defend. Yeah, the Hydras go down, and down he holds. He shuts down the army. Stasis is about to run out. But the Archons are ready. High Templar pull away. Bailings, they don't get into the middle line, and Zoun, he holds, and he barely loses any workers. Just 2 probes. Did trade a lot of his army. But Zoun, he's holding on. Shin, he's still just hammering down that Z key. Making more Lings, making more Hydras as well. Remember, still no infestation bits, still no hive, still no lurkers. Still all in. And the longer this game goes on, the better it is for Zoun. Because Zoun should be dead by now. Like, in Shin's mind, he would have at least killed a base. At least killed either the 3rd or the 4th. And he has failed to do so. And I'm concerned. I am concerned here for Shin. And this is also the strength of the initial charge opener, is faster Archons and faster Storm. And you can see just how well Storm Archon, or this kind of composition, deals with Lingbane Hydra. Like, the Archons, they soak everything. Storms, they deal with the Hydras themselves and everything else. Like, this is the ideal setup for Zoun. Which is why he did not open Blink this time. You can see Zoun trying to position himself in between the bases so he can respond, he can react. Shin is still committed. Shin has still not made a single drone in quite some time, and he still has not thrown down any tech whatsoever. He has not started +2, and I don't think he really intends to. So no upgrades, no tech, no nothing. And yeah, we're gonna be fine. The Storms get thrown down. Nice dive here on top of the High Templar. But the Archons, they hold their own. Ooh, some High Templar do go down, but Zoun, he holds. Zoun, he's gonna hold another brutal Storm. There's just not enough here, not enough Zerg. Zoun, he just shuts down the army. Now it's time for a counterattack, and Shin has nothing left. +3 is on the way. Zoun, he breaks free, breaks out. GG gets called as Shin was completely all in, and Zoun will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the semifinals. GG. GG, well played. Zoun does take the series. Very impressive. And again, we've seen Zoun improve so much over the past month. I mentioned before that Zoun, he went all the way to Game 7 against Raynor at Masters Coliseum. It was a crazy series between the two of them. And even here, it takes down Shin in a best of 3. Impressive. Very impressive play here by Zoun. Again, he has been improving specifically this matchup over time. With that, Zoun will advance on to the semis. And the question becomes, who will he face in those semifinals? We're here to find out. We're here to find out as we are jumping into what should be a much shorter series. We're going to be featuring 3 Point versus Geralt. Let's go.